So come on, Martin, when we look at the title race and we look at the remaining fixtures for Arsenal and for Manchester City, come the 19th of April, it's now been moved, isn't it, to that Sunday afternoon in Manchester, are we still going to be close in this battle?
Yeah, I mean, look, there's still opportunities here for City. I mean, they're 9 points clear, Arsenal right now. There's a game in hand they can win. They can also beat Arsenal to close that gap to 3. But we look at the goal difference and maybe we're talking 10 points here. So it's all on Man City, really, to start to turn this around. But they can do it. And I won't go against him. But the game, it just has to go from game to game. The next one's away at Chelsea. And Arsenal have a home game. So this is an important period, and these away games are really catching up with City right now, not getting the points they need.
Stuart, you know that man very well, better than us, Martin Keown, but is this him excited? Is this because he's not looking? Look at his face.
I would like to see him depressed if that's him excited, if truth be known. I mean, to be fair...
Martin, you're allowed to believe now, you can believe.
Been in this position a number of times, so you know, you're always cautious, always cautious. You get a slap across the face very easily in this game of football, the Premier League, so you take it from game to game.
He said they got no chance of winning the Premier League, but we could win all 4 this year in the same breath. It's incredible. I can't work him out.
He believes in the quadruple, so
exactly.
I think that's what'll get them over the line. The squad that he's built over a long number of years. He has spent the money as well. Let's not get that wrong. But I think this is the year where second no more will, and they're going to get their hands on the Premier League trophy.
Martin, what were your views of the performance in general? Stuart touched on it earlier, but you know it was nerve jangling at times, wasn't it? And as I say, they've got those 3 points very late.
Wasn't nervous, was he? You weren't nervous.
Do you know it was David Moyes? It was made difficult by a very wily old manager in David Moyes, who seems to get better year on year.
Yeah.
You know, McNeil shooting from distance. Dewsbury Hall as well had good opportunities. They sat quite deep. We know that they do that, and then they counter-attacked with real purpose. I just feel they just need a striker, someone who can hold on to the ball for them to get even better. But David Moyes is putting really big steps in the right direction for that football club. I think they'll be absolutely fine next year. They might even make Europe this time round.
Does it feel like a game that we'll look back on, though, if Arsenal do get the ultimate prize and think, yeah, that night against Everton, 89 on the clock, still 0-0?
I think the tipping point has gone, you know what I mean? That result late on was a massive result for Arsenal. They're under pressure every time they play. Everyone keeps saying, haven't won it for 5 years, haven't won it for a number of years, come second. They're playing with that weight of expectation on them all the time. And every time they tick a game off and get over the line like they have today, it just takes the weight off slightly.
What's it like at this stage, Martin, going for a title? 10 out now?
Do you know, I think you play your whole career to get into these situations, so you have to love it. You don't fear it. You must wake up every morning, pinch yourself, because it's kind of unique to be in a situation where you can possibly win 4 trophies, and that dream is still alive.
He's not committing, is he? No, they're in such a strong position. They really are. And again, they've had the scars, Martin. To be fair, in the last couple of years, finishing second, everyone has a go at them. Even when they drew against Wolves, you know, a month or so back, they're going to crumble, they're going to fall apart. But again, Arteta's managed to keep a lid on that. He's managed to keep the heads together. And again, it feels like a key moment. We've seen teams in the past, you know, Fergie's at Man United, late goals. You've seen Man City do it, Aguero obviously famously scoring a late goal. Today it feels like that sort of momentum. Usually 89th minute, 2 very late goals, and you see the celebrations after Max DOWMAN's goal. They're all in there, they're all in it together, and it's a feel-good factor around the club at the minute.
I think as well, some people look back over the seconds in previous years and use that as a whip to beat Arsenal with. I see it as building blocks in getting their hands on the title this year. I really do. I think Arteta's learnt a lot from what's gone previous to this, and I think they've learnt a lot in regard to the squad size that you need to win a title. You can't just do it with 14 players now. You need the impact from the bench, and we saw that once again today.
And how much will the dynamic change in the fact that they play in 3 cup competitions before their next Premier League game? Obviously, you win them, you keep the momentum, right?
Yeah, you don't want that balloon being popped. And you don't know how the group's going to respond if they lose a game. So Leverkusen, the last-minute goal again was key there to come and win this one today. And then you go into the next game then feeling, hold on, Leverkusen, come on, let's bring it on. And then hopefully that's a good one. You've got this incredible cup final coming up with Man City. It's always City in the background. So, no, this has been a good week already, and it could be even better the next week.
Yeah. So there we go.
We will talk a little bit more about that. But for, what, 88 or so minutes, Ashley, you had crafted a really lovely piece of analysis on how well Everton were defending. And they did. for almost all the game.
Yeah, absolutely. They nearly executed the perfect away plan again under David Moyes. They did ever so well, right up to, as you say, the 88th minute when it was just probably the only time they switched off. Arsenal are just on the attack. We've highlighted DOWMAN. Mykolenko gets a good tackle, but then he thinks his job's done. I don't know if he's expecting a long throw-in, but he switched off. They take a quick throw-in. Great ball in from DOWMAN. Hincapié at the back stick, and then, like all good strikers, he's in the right place. Jordan Pickford on his 350th appearance. Joe, I'm not sure. Yeah, you can talk us through that one.
I think David Moyes touched on it brilliantly, actually. Jordan's come, he actually gets a tiny little touch, and look, sometimes this touch you're going to see here is enough. It takes it off someone's head. This one hits Hincapié in the chest, over to Gyökeres, and look, that's not going to stay in Jordan Pickford's season. He's been absolutely magnificent. He was brilliant today, but unfortunately, he's got that one wrong. Gyökeres cannot believe his luck.
Why do you think he comes for it, Joe?
Because he's that kind of goalkeeper who wants to help his team. He's one of the main men for Everton. He's a captain on the day. He's a top keeper. I hate seeing that in the background because he's been so good this year. But that's the life of a goalkeeper, and Jordan will accept that, and I'm sure he'll be brilliant next game.
We saw Max DOWMAN's involvement in the first goal. He went even better and became the Premier League's youngest ever goal scorer at 16 years and 73 days. I mean, it's just incredible.
Unbelievable. And these are the kind of days that you just love the Premier League and you love football for situations like this. Everton are now pushing on. You can see Jordan Pickford in the box, trying to get his head on things. That's a great header, by the way, from Gyökeres. And then this is just down to Max DOWMAN. He's got so far to run. Brushes off Mykolenko, a little bit of skill around Dewsbury Hall. Then he kind of eases up and then has a little bit of a panic. Sensible finish into the goal. And what an absolute brilliant moment for him. Can you imagine being his age right in about now and just realising, oh my gosh, I'm going to score my first goal at home. And then you see what it means. He just wheels off. And look at Declan Rice's face. I love that. The subs bench are all the way down, Joe. It's a brilliant moment, isn't it?
It's unbelievable. I think DOWMAN's so composed. And he comes on and he believes in his ability. He's not surprised at what he's done. It's only when he sees the reaction of the stadium and his teammates, he realises what a big moment that is in the Premier League. One, in the Premier League as a history. Two, in the title race.
And if, you know, everybody alluded to it there, he doesn't play like a 16-year-old. He doesn't play like the Premier League's youngest ever goal scorer.
No, look at those numbers. You know, James Vaughan, 20-odd years he's been holding that record.
5 years before Max DOWMAN was born.
Well, there you go. That sums it up. But I've heard Declan Rice talk about him all the time, and it's just, you hear nothing but compliments. Played against Mansfield recently, a really mature performance. And like I say, when he scored that goal, he believed he was going to score that goal. He believes he should be on that pitch. And that's not an arrogance, that's a confidence. I think we've got a real special player on our hands.
And it's not just the fact that he's a 16-year-old. It's about the decision that Mikel Arteta made to bring him on. And this has been something he's got consistently right as the season's gone on. I think Arsenal players have scored or assisted from the bench 21 times this season.
And a part of that is the strength in depth that the squad have got, which we spoke about at the start of the season, that might be the difference. And then also, you know, the brilliance of Mikel Arteta to bring which sub to bring on and when to bring them on. Today he got it absolutely right. Brought on Gyökeres, Martinelli and Max DOWMAN, and that was over Jesus, who he could have brought on, who he left on the bench. And that paid off for him. Max DOWMAN, by the way, when he come on, changed the game for Arsenal. He was very composed. He made things happen. He livened them up in the attack. So you can say, yes, they've got strength in depth, but also Mikel Arteta is using it very well.
And as well as DOWMAN has played when he's come on, is it brave from Arteta to bring on a 16-year-old at that stage of a tight game?
From what I see from Mikel Arteta, he's not taking any chances. He's bringing him on because he believes he's going to change the game. He's not in this to try and win awards or I was the one who brought Max DOWMAN on. He couldn't care less if he was 16 or 66. He's bringing him on to win the game.
He wouldn't win it if he brought in a 66-year-old. So Arsenal get all 3 points, and then it's over to...
Shay Given, former Manchester City goalkeeper, be honest, does that feel like that in terms of Manchester City's title push now?
It does, and I think Pep mentioned himself the Nottingham Forest game as well at home last week. It was a big blow to drop 2 points there. They've had a tough week, obviously going to Madrid, losing heavily in Madrid as well, and the spark doesn't seem to be there. You know, they sort of huffed and puffed. They created some chances at West Ham there tonight in the game, but not, I mean, they weren't clear-cut chances. I didn't feel. It's not the City of old. There definitely seems to be something missing, some sort of spark that's not there. And of course, Arsenal are flying away at the top, with 9 points clear now, so they're in a really comfortable position. And I think maybe even Pep thinks, he says he's got an incredible team, but it's not the incredible team that we've seen in Pep in years gone by, should we say. So they've still got a lot of work to do.
Yeah, the former Manchester City manager, and Stuart Pearce here as well with us. They went ahead, it all looked good, didn't it, when Bernardo Silva stuck that in the back of the net, whether he meant...
In this game that have been a part of the winning groups of the past. So it's a part of a rebuilding process, but you can never really look at Pep and say he's out of the fight. He's been such a magnificent manager for them.
Stuart, when you think of all the firepower on that Manchester City bench, not only today but throughout the season, only one substitute has actually scored off the bench in the Premier League. That was Ryan Shirky on the opening match of the season. That is a huge surprise with that talent.
That is an incredible stat. It surprised me, to be honest with you, and it just goes to show, you know, we'll put it this way, Arsenal had 2 come off the bench and scored a day, so they've doubled in one game.
They've got 11 for the season, and that shows you, doesn't it?
The importance of the utilisation of the bench in modern-day football is incredible. It's out there for all to see, and you've got to come and have impact off the bench. The best teams and the best squads do.
Erling Haaland, what are we saying about Erling, Shay? You look, obviously he could still win the Golden Boot when it comes to the Premier League big prize in that sense, but here are his numbers. Look, the first 17 games of the Premier League season, 19 goals.
Yeah.
You know, he was absolutely cooking, wasn't he? The last 12, 3, 2 of those penalties.
Yeah, no, he's really dropped off. I mean, there's no doubt in his talent. You know, Pep said in recent weeks he's the best striker in world football, but them stats, that obviously graphic doesn't show that in the last couple of months. I don't know, it just doesn't seem to be falling for him. You know, we spoke earlier about can he be more sort of dominant in the air? He's 6'5", you know, he's sort of getting behind defenders and not really going and being that aggressive in the box. And I think he had 1 or 2 chances today, especially one I think in the second half was pulled back to him around the penalty spot, and he's on his left foot. There's no one challenging him. It's a clear shot for Erling Haaland, and maybe he's just showing he's human after all. Maybe his confidence is a bit low. I mean, he started the season on fire. He's dropped off. You know, even in Madrid midweek he was very poor as well. So he has to get back to his best for Man City. They're still fighting on all 4 fronts as well.
And Stuart, your old team, West Ham, out of the bottom 3 for the first time since the end of November. What has Nuno done since he's been in charge? I mean, even the last 9 games since sort of mid-January, 15 points, and points have been absolutely crucial. They've got them right in the thick of this race.
Yeah, it certainly has. And sometimes it takes a manager a while to get to know the players, you know. Sometimes you come in, you walk into a dressing room situation, you look at maybe Thomas Souček and think he's a bit of an ugly duckling, you know. Pagueta's a much better talent, more silky on the eye. I'll go with Pagueta. All of a sudden he leaves and you realise the importance of people like Thomas Souček at the football club that we did over a number of years, in both boxes, by the way. Fantastic for the team, and the work rate that the individuals like him put in. I think it's just taken him probably a couple of months to work the balance out and get to know the individuals.